morning, all you Midwestern mages. My name is Broderick Hanson. I'd love to welcome you back to the Minnesota's Magic Podcast Show. We got a full squad today, lads. Let's do this. Started off, we know that lad as Action Jackson. How's it hanging, my friend?
It's going. We're chilling.
We're chilling, he says. Next, following up, we know that lad as our Mono Blue Menace. That's Dylan Hartman.
Currently unboxing my computer.
Hey, he's no longer in the van. He was let out, lads.
I was.
Let's see if this man was let out. That's Battle Cruiser Blake.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm a little tired,
That's so good.
fighting off a little bit of a sickness, fighting off a little bit of tiredness from working on nursery stuff. But we're here. We're good.
Fighting off dad syndrome. It's contagious.
MTG dad moments are coming.
He shaved his head, grown out his mustache. He's ready to go.
I did this morning. Was talking to my wife's belly because I wanted to talk to my little boy in there, and was like untap, upkeep, draw, and then Kayla said that he started tip tapping around a little bit in there. So I think he's gonna be a Magic nerd.
Are you gonna lay out?
I'm gonna make him a blue player. I'm gonna turn him into a blue player, Blake.
That's fine.
Are you gonna lay out all the cards and then have him crawl towards one, and that's what he's gonna play?
Yeah,
but then the white one says banding on it, and he just goes straight for it immediately.
I'm just gonna put out
father, mono
one
white
of
banding.
one of each land, and then whatever he decides, that's what he's gonna be known as forever.
You are Forest.
This is your name.
Yeah.
What? You are Basic Plains.
No covered island.
Yo, I'll be fine with that.
Breeding pool.
And we got one last guest here with us.
That's
one last co-host.
We got one last. It's your boy, Boardwipe Johnson, Zach.
Hey, everybody. Great news today. You'll never guess what.
What?
Boardwipe?
Well, we have more participants in the event called a podcast than we do views.
Oh, hey now.
He's dunking on ourselves.
All right, and now you're probably thinking, "Oh, wow, the full squad's here. Must be some sort of special episode." Well, you're right. There's a new set out called Dominaria United. Some of us have played it already, had great draft experiences in it, right, guys?
Yeah.
No.
I thought the draft experience was fantastic. Poor Zach, though. I mean, he couldn't get shit off the ground to save his life.
Haven't touched it yet.
But
and when you get a buy, that's some BS.
Oh, buys.
You gotta buy in pre-release? That's awful.
Oof,
it's like, yes, I like to pay and then get a buy. That's so annoying.
But we're going to be talking about what commanders we may or may not build from this set. I think I'll actually build it after, getting rid of half my collection. But we're picking legendary creatures from this set, some cards from this set that we enjoy, and we're going to be building some commander decks or some commanders we think would be pretty sweet. And I'm going to be starting us off today with this. He's just a little guy. He's just so cute and adorable, and I think everybody's going to love him. His name is Bladewing, Deathless Tyrant, and he's just the most adorable little friend you'll ever see. Bladewing, Deathless Tyrant is a 6/6 legendary skeleton dragon for 5 black-red. He has flying and haste. And he says, whenever Bladewing, Deathless Tyrant deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, for each creature card in your graveyard, create a 2/2 black zombie knight creature token with Menace. Now the cool thing about this is, usually when you think of token creating commanders, it usually has green or white. So you can run Anointed Procession or one of the many green doublers. This is black-red, and it makes Menace tokens, but those tokens don't just die immediately. And they're also zombies, and you're in black. So you can run a lot of those lords that just make them Menace Death Touchers, or whenever they just deal damage, you draw a card. But something cool you can do with this deck is whenever Bladewing himself deals combat damage, that'll trigger. So if you put double strike on him, or you're running like enchantments that have like extra attack steps or give you extra attacks, you can just keep going in and just making a huge army as well. I've
Nice.
not found a I have not found a way yet to just punch somebody with combat on their turn yet. But I'm pretty sure there's some sort of like artifact or where you tap him and he just dings something. But also in this deck, like some of the creatures I'm going to be running I'm running like the Plague Crafters and stuff like that, where they just come down, blow themselves up, get value, but put themselves in the graveyard, like Stitcher Supply or Straight Gas. But one thing I found out is evoke cards and cards with dredge really just synergize well with this deck, where I'm playing like a couple of the evoke elementals I can just to fill up my graveyard. And just basically, because the point of this deck is just to play your commander, have some graveyard synergy as well, like reanimators or stuff that can come back from your graveyard. But stuff that just fills it or based on that power. But cards with also cycling as well that like going through this, I thought, all right, I don't have like green, so a lot of like those Obzon or Sultai decks that just fill your graveyard right away is going to be like, I don't quite have these. I'm struggling to find that. That's what my initial thoughts were. But then going through all these cards, I'm like, oh, that's right. There's Evoke, Cycling. There's also Exploit as well. And it's like, that's right. Black just has a lot of ways of just incidentally just blowing up its own stuff to gain value or just putting cards straight into the graveyard. So like half of this is like I call it self-mutilation because a lot of these cards are just a lot of these cards are just coming down, blowing themselves up or offing themselves, going to the graveyard, and then you have stuff like Zulaport Cutthroat or Blood Artist there just draining and gaining you that life. The other part is what I like to call the rotating door, because I'm just going to be hitting you a bunch of times with this dragon and just constantly hitting you. So the cool thing, what I found out about like goldfishing this deck is, oh lord, it's one of the enchantments. It's like I think Aggravated Assault. You pump mana into it, and you get an extra combat. If I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. Yep. So you have that out. But then you have like Anger in the graveyard, and it gives you another attack step. So if you would make all those zombies, you have Anger in the graveyard, you get another attack step. Those zombies then can attack, and you're swinging with like 10 or 13 zombies. But if Bladewing has double strike, you just made like 26 zombies on your first attack. Well, then here come 26 more. But if you have an Astronaut's Altar, or not an Astronaut Altar, a Phyrexian Altar, you just sack a bunch of those zombies, pump it in, and you pretty much just have infinite combat.
Nice.
Now, is this magical Christmas land? Oh, you best be betting. You better get your snowshoes ready, because Santa's sitting there and he's patting his lap, waiting for you to come sit down. But I'm on this major like graveyard kick right now, which graveyards are kind of my thing. But also, it's like I don't want to keep playing like green graveyard because there's a lot of that. Black-red graveyard seems fun. I enjoy the combination of black-red. And there's a lot of just cool, big, derpy things I can run in here. Like Olivia as well. And I don't think I've seen an Olivia deck in the wild yet. And I haven't seen her a whole lot either. But this is a deck I want to jam Olivia. And of course, you're going to be running like Rise of the Dark Realms and all those other cards. But this deck seems like powerful, but doesn't seem like overly too broken. Like, it's a 7-drop commander. You're going to see this guy coming a mile away. And you're going to know it's as soon as this thing comes down, it's go time. So it seems fair. It's not broken. Yeah, if I do like the Phyrexian Altar combo with Aggravated Assault, yeah, I might just win out. That's my win con. But it's 5 mana, and I have to deal damage with this dragon, and he doesn't have protection.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are you going to be putting any discard in there, or blood tokens, or madness?
Yeah,
or anything?
there are a couple cards in here that have like the generate blood tokens and that are madness. There aren't a whole lot. Like I'm running like I think it's Bone Splinters where you draw 2 and discard 2. A lot of stuff like that, just random a lot of my draw is basically discard draw, like looting.
Mhm.
Um,
Thrill of Possibility and Cathartic
yeah,
Reunion and
yep, yeah. Village rights,
Village
stuff like
Rights.
that.
Yeah.
Yep. Village rights is one of my favorite. I just like it.
That's such a good card.
But yeah, a lot of stuff like that where it's just like I am going to just play this, discard this, draw. It's basically how fast can I put my deck into the graveyard? I like when I built it, I looked it through it, and I'm like, this reminds me of Living End in Modern or whatever, because it's just like a lot of cycling too.
I think it could be cool.
I quite enjoyed goldfishing it, but you know what? You never know until you play it, and then you're playing it, and then you're sad because this is what I imagined at all.
You know what goldfishing doesn't account for is my
Wha-
Bajuka Bog.
You know, you're not wrong.
It also doesn't account for my counter spells.
You're not.
He
You're
doesn't care
not.
about counter spells as much because he wants things in the graveyard.
Yes, but it, it doesn't account for every time. It's like I'm gonna play my 7-drop commander. I'm gonna counter that. Oh, okay. I'll wait next turn till my 9-drop. And that's like that's something I've thought, but then you're running like Crypt Gask and all those like mana doublers. Black and red just have incidental, like, here's free mana. Here's just a crap ton of this. And like dirtling around with like Dockside and the blood tokens, there's quite a bit of ways of just like incidentally making treasure now as well. Especially when you're running the the ancient copper dragon that when he attacks you just roll a d20 and make treasure. So
yeah.
yeah. The like red and black have ways of just making an asinine amount of mana, and that's pretty much my ramp package, which is like Dockside Extortionist, Big Score, that one Modern Horizons card where you discard a card and make 2 treasures. Unexpected Windfall. Yeah, you it's the additional cost of this card. You discard a card, draw 2 cards, and create 2 treasure tokens. And that's for 2 red. So it supplies me with what I need, which is drawing cards and making treasures in this deck. But yeah, this deck seems fun. I hope to play it soon, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have going. So let's Dean Kamen it over to Jackson over here.
All right. So the commander that I was thinking about building is Shieldred the Apocalypse. So it is a 4/5 for 2 black with Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life, and whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. So this deck like seemed fun to me because I hate when decks just kind of like their combos are like unstoppable in a way where like you see it happening and you can destroy parts of it, but they're gonna like be able to keep like playing it back. But when you're drawing a ton of cards, like the whole point of the deck is to make your opponents draw a bunch of cards too, so they lose life. I think it creates like more fun kind of games. Cause yeah, I'm like damaging everyone and everyone hates me, but they get like their entire deck to work with, so it's kind of a more fun thing. So some of like the bigger pieces in the deck are like Howling Mind, where you draw an additional card at your draw step. A Font of Mythos where you draw 2 additional cards, or everyone does. And then like Teferi's Puzzle Box where you ditch your entire hand onto the bottom of your graveyard and draw 7 cards. And you're losing 14 life, and everyone's like, oh shit, this is starting to get out of hand. And there's also some fun cards like Underworld Dreams, which when you draw a card, you do 1 damage, or you take. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Underworld Dreams deals 1 damage to that player. And there's also like Peer into the Abyss, which is just an insta kill if Shieldred's out, pretty much, because you draw half your deck and lose half your life, but you're also losing, you know, 40 some life, 80 some life, depending on how much you draw.
And your breath from that explanation.
Yeah, I don't breathe. It's kind of out of,
Breathing's for
out of the meta
losers.
now. Out of the meta now.
Are you running Sizan the Prevented Truth at all?
No, I don't.
He says at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses 2 life and draws 2 cards.
That sounds great.
He's 3 black for a 6/5 demon spirit.
Yeah, he's the mono black
That's 6
Nekusar.
life just from him if Shieldred's
That is
out.
true.
That's
There's
just
also like Veto and Sanguine Bond, where when you're gaining 2, someone's losing 2. So whenever you're drawing the additional cards, they're losing more life too. Just
Yeah,
want
that'd
you.
be cool if you could kind of like start kind of doing stacksy stuff with some of the effects.
Yeah.
so I don't mean to interrupt, but okay, no, I do mean to interrupt. But like looking at the Shieldred page, and I'm like just sort of scrolling through it. There's a lot of just incidental, like, hi, we're helping you draw black cards. We're like that Demon's Deal, where it's like you can draw an extra card, but you'll take a damage, or whatever you just draw a card to take a damage. Like Obnixilis, the Hate Twisted, that just says whenever your opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to that player.
Did you see it's -2? Destroy target creature controller draws 2 cards.
Yeah.
So
It's
not
just
only are you blowing up a creature, you're making them lose 4 life.
yeah,
For
this
-2.
Nice.
And then you can also put in cards like fuck. What is the card where you can look at the top card of your library and you can cast it for life instead of its CMC?
Bolus's
Bolas'
Citadel.
Citadel.
Bolas' Citadel, yeah. You can play stuff like that too, because you're gonna have a lot of extra life as well as, milling people out or taking their life out.
Yeah,
So
you're gonna want to look at Nekusar decks and then just take all the black cards. Like there's the one wheel that's a black wheel, but like for 1 less card, and from an experienced Nekusar player, Jackson, you're gonna get hated out real fast, so you got to win real fast.
Yeah, of course.
Even some darknesses, some silences, anything to keep people off your ass, basically.
So I gotta know, Jack, because like typically mono black can go in like many different directions. So besides like the drawing, are you like going reanimator, or what are you trying to go?
Probably either probably reanimator, because that's just kind of my thing. There's you gotta have
The
the other
Graveyard
Shieldred in the
Cousins.
Shieldred deck.
Of course.
You can do some flicker shenanigans too, so
Oh yeah.
just to play the deck.
Does black have flicker cards?
No, but you can use
You can sacrifice and reanimate.
Conjuring Closet.
Yeah,
Conjure-
the art, some of the artifacts that just blink stuff.
Something like that.
Conjuring Closet, Sword of Hearth and Home. But that's a
So,
combat damage one.
Are you going to be running like the rack cards as well in this deck? Like the rack and like Iron Coffin?
Well, the rack cares about cards less than 4. You got to get the other one that's I can't remember what it's called, but like if you
The
have
Black
more
Vice?
than yes, Black Vice,
Yeah.
is that it?
Yeah. It's rack and Black Vice. If I'm not
You're just gonna punish people for having cards in their hand, which I enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't like that. That's just, that's rude.
Yeah, Black Vice. If an opponent has more than 4 cards in their hand during their upkeep, Black Vice does 1 damage to the opponent for each card excess of 4.
Yeah, Iron Coffin does the same thing.
I
But
think
then
that would be pretty good
Yeah,
in
it's
the
kind
deck.
of wacky as well.
I got one quick question, or I think a card you should put in there is Mind Crank. Do you know what that does, Jackson?
Yeah.
Whenever an opponent loses life, that player
Big
mills that many cards.
It could have the sub effect of milling people out.
That's even better. It's like, hey, I'm gonna give your deck dysentery. What do you mean you're gonna give my deck dysentery? Well, I'm gonna make you draw 5 cards.
You
All
have
right.
7 cards in hand. You have
All right.
Teferi's Puzzle Box out. You put
Oh,
7 on the bottom.
Jesus
You draw
Christ.
7, take 14, mill 14.
And then you
then
you
Iron
had to put
Maiden and Vice trigger at the same time too, so they lose another like 14, mill 14.
and then Sir Conrad.
Oh
Oh,
god.
reflection too.
Holy, this deck might just kill people outright on their upkeeps. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You might just get into some
Pretty
really
funky there, but
fuck. All right, this
You
deck
just love
seems
hurting
sweet.
people because you also have the Vishanu brings mana burn back.
Oh yeah, you're lying.
you just like to hurt people, don't you, Jackson?
It's funny. I'd rather not attack. I'd rather have them, lose life in some weird way.
I mean, I'm into it, but also,
So-
ouch.
For a wrestler, you're playing a pretty far reach there, Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what my dragon deck's for. I can swing all out there.
So I have
Alright.
the Devastators. Is it just black mana on or like the black one or
The
with the
Black
Devastator?
Defiler.
Yeah, the Defiler, I mean. So with those, is that just like the cost of any, let's see here. It's additional cost to cast. Oh, it's only casting, because I was looking at Greed here, which is an enchantment, 3 and a black, but it says black, pay a black, pay 2 life, draw a card. But with Shieldred, all you have to do is pay a black and you're drawing a card. I thought with the Devastator or whatever, you could just pay 2 life, gain 2 life. You're just taking 2 life to draw.
Yeah, but if you put Crick, then you're fine. Because Crick
Oh, you're
cares
right.
only
You play
about...
Crick. There you go. You play Crick and you just. And then
you
you have
win.
like. Yeah. But there's also like Blood Chief's Ascension, which just says whenever a card is put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, if it has 3 or more blood counters on it, it deals that player loses 2 life and gains 2 life.
We
but
should
yeah,
stop talking about this deck because I don't want to play against it.
This is Tiny Bones, but faster.
One more thing before we get off of it, Tigrid. It's just insane.
Oh
in this
my
deck.
god, you're right.
Anyways, let's move on.
This is like reverse Tiny Bones. He's not making you discard, he's making you draw, and you're just screaming. It's like, stop! Stop! Insert JonTron meme of him yelling stop. All right.
This goes perfectly in Nekusar. Anyway.
I want to play against it because I feel like everybody would eventually come after Jackson for his
Of
sins.
course.
It would be right
well-
away.
well,
Not
hold
even-
on. We have to think, when I play my Xeris deck, do you just come after me right away, or do you just let you draw like 80 cards?
No, we only kill Xyrus, so that way we just keep drawing cards.
Hey now, you leave her alone, all right?
And you don't get snakes. We just get cards. That's all we want.
I'll find a way to make snakes, goddammit. You can't stop me. Life
Alright,
finds a way.
Who's up next?
Dylan, you want to hit us with that spice?
Sure. Yeah, I think. Well, it's funny that you get, that after Jackson with the Shieldred deck, now I'm making an Urtai deck with a very similar win condition as Jackson. Considering I was like, hey, Shieldred would go great in an Urtai deck, and then Jackson's talking about his deck, and I'm like, god damn it, he's throwing all the same cards in there.
Yeah,
But
but you
yeah,
have
the,
blue for the wheel. Sorry. Anyway.
Yeah, Urtai Resurrected. What is he? Two blue black for 3/2 with flash. And when he enters the battlefield, you can counter targets. You can counter spell. You can stifle, or you can blow up a creature or planeswalker. But the downside is that your opponent draws a card. Now I've kind of built around making it a you draw a card, it's bad, and putting in similar card draw where you're making your opponent. Well, the sub theme is control, or the main theme is control, with a sub theme of when you draw, you're taking damage. So it's not as direct. It's not as direct as Jackson's take, but it's really just a more board control, and you're setting up creatures, you're setting up plays, and you're abusing the fact that Urtai can be flickered. So Urtai is just a sitting counterspell that's in your command zone. And I mean, what's the worst thing it can do? As soon as they kill it, my first thought was, oh my god, I got to play Shallow Grave in this deck, so I can Shallow Grave him out of my graveyard and use it as a counterspell, just a 2-mana counterspell from the graveyard. And that was kind of what I ran with. So it's going to be make my opponents draw cards and lose life. And And then I'm also going to make you lose life when you discard cards. So whenever you're drawing cards, you're losing life. Whenever you discard cards, you lose life. However, I have taken the liberty of not putting in any such wheel effects because those are poopy. And the whole theme is abusing the fact that you have to discard down to 7 at the end of your turn. And so I want to make you draw, I want to make you draw 3-4 cards in a turn. You're going to lose 3-4 life by drawing it, but you're also going to lose 3-4 more life at the end of your turn after you've played with your turn. So the thought process is you're gaining life you're losing life when you're drawing, you're losing life when you're discarding, and then any of the cards you draw, you substitute it with, well, they have, it's like, oh, well, they have lots of cards, so obviously they're going to be drawing more threats. It's like, yes, but I also have this counterspell that's sitting in my command zone that I can flash in at any time for anything that's threatening my board state. That's kind of the theme I ran with. It's not super flashy, but I basically was like, hey, this Nekusar deck looks great, but it's way too cringe for me, and I don't like wheels. So, and I already have a wheel deck anyway. Baron's pretty much a wheel deck as is. So I decided that it would be better suited to just try something different, but still keeping with the control theme.
Yeah, it's very different of you to play a deck that cares about controlling the board.
Oh, yes. Well, I don't know. It's just something I enjoy. There's a couple other or commanders in there that I'm thinking of building around. Like the new Hazazon's pretty cool. But Urtai is the one where I was like, yep, control players got to do control things. So.
You are the mono blue menace, so.
It's true.
Yeah. Blue
I was
black.
going to be the Demir Menace.
Yeah, Demir Menace.
Give me a minute. I'll think of something stupid to call him. Don't you worry.
The
Bet your
Demir
bottom
Dementor.
dollar. There we go. We call him Double D.
Yeah.
He's the
Double
triple D. He's triple D. He's Dylan Demir Degenerate.
Yeah.
Okay.
The,
Demir is fine, all right? You leave that alone. I like Demir.
Yeah,
He's,
the
he's
cards
diner
that you're
drives and dives.
the cards that you're abusing. Jesus.
Sorry.
Take the batteries out quick.
We have officially killed Brody.
Hope he had to mute himself. I got him good on that one, apparently.
I guess, yeah.
Oh boy, good
Yeah,
job. Keep
the
coming
deck-
up on the field.
The deck is just surprisingly resilient. I know Blake loves when I build unbelievably resilient decks, and then he has to play against them, and it just makes him cry. He's just like, bro, when can I have a child so I can get rid of these guys?
Doesn't make me cry. All it does is make me annoyed when I'm like, I'm gonna swing for 50, and then all of a sudden you're still alive.
I'm gonna overload Psych Rift. God damn it, Dylan. And then the deck is actually, in theory, it's really resilient, and it doesn't. The one nice thing is it doesn't run. It's not gonna run any mainstay like big board counter spells except for like Arcane Denial, because it's making your opponent draw cards, which is on theme. There's a couple other counter spells from newer sets that are not nearly as good as cards like Mana Drain or Force of Will, but they fit the theme of the deck well. So in essence, the deck's only going to run like 3 true counter spells, and then it's going to run blink effects for Urtai so that I can control the board. Because if you think about it, cards like Shallow Grave is a great card. It's an instant for 2 mana, but if you use it on Urtai, I guess I just turned Shallow Grave into a counter spell. Same thing with can't remember what that one. It's a 6 mana blue creature that gives soul bond, and you can play one in a blue and flicker a soul bonded creature.
Oh, Deadeye Navigator.
That's the
Mis-
one, yeah.
Mr. Boat
Deadeye
Combo
Navigator would be a fantastic card because so you can flicker Urtai.
Oh my god, that's
Oh
pretty
my
good
God,
actually.
That's so gross, dude. That's so gross. Are you gonna run not Brago? What the heck's that blue card that the counter spell? Whenever you counter a spell, you draw a card, and it makes instants cost less.
I'm not sure. I don't know of that card. There's a lot of cards in this game.
You could run Displacer Kitten.
I am actually.
Mao Kitten.
Displacer Kitten was like one of the first cards I was like, hey, that's a really good card to throw in this. And I have not touched Baldur's Gate, so why not? I mean, the only thing I just was avid on not playing with was the wheel effects. I already have a deck that uses it enough. So and it's not. And the thing is like when I do use the wheel effects, even in Baron does not get a benefit from a wheel other than I'm drawing a new hand. And my opponents don't have any downside other than they're drawing a new hand. So there isn't like a Narset or a banned Hull Breacher that's going to come in and take all your cards. Because I don't like that. I don't like people that play like that. So I didn't feel like playing Urtai should be any different because I think that Urtai is a really powerful commander. But which is hilarious because most of the people that have been talking about the set, I think they just could totally throw him under the radar. Nobody's even brought him up and gone, hey, this is actually a really, really good commander, and nobody's noticed it yet. So yeah, I don't know when I'm gonna actually build the deck, but I know it's definitely on my list. But that's pretty much all I have about Urtai. So
the card I was thinking of is Baral, Chief of Compliance.
Oh.
1/3 human wizard. Instants and sorceries cost 1 less. Whenever a spell or ability you control counters a spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card.
It's actually not bad. So yeah, I might have to throw that in the deck too. Thanks, Blake.
Yep. Just gonna help you out.
Yep. When I play that card and I'm the one getting value out of it, thank yourself.
It's like when I helped Zach with that Dreams of the Dead in his Amunatu deck.
Right. Yeah, dude, the hardest thing right now for me, like with looking at this set, is I do not know how. I'm trying to figure out how to build the new Hazazon deck, without it being so janky. Like deserts are such janky cards that I'm having a great time trying to figure it out, but like, oh my god, that deck is so annoying.
Hey Zazon, what's wrong with you? I don't know. What's wrong with you?
I like deserts. Well, guess what? There's deserts. Deserts suck.
So you guys know how I've been wanting to build a Hazazon deck forever, but he's so expensive, and I'm just like, I can't afford to pay a $300 card for the commander.
Brody, that's bullshit, and you know it. I literally thought, Brody, with all the secret rares you buy, it's bullshit. You can't buy a $300 card.
All right, I choose food over building a new deck. How about that?
Yeah,
You don't choose food over shiny cards, though, Brody. We all know it.
All right, I may have made some mistakes, and I may be like $1,400 in debt, but that's fine. It's fine. Everything is Daijobu. Speaking of Daijobu, we're gonna go to Dajobu over here, and that's Blake.
I don't understand the transition, but okay.
Don't worry, I didn't either. That makes it even better.
Okay, so I was going between two, both Gruul. I think what I'm gonna pick is General Marhalt El's Dragon. It's the Elf Warrior, 4/4 for 2 red green. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, it gets +3/+3 until end of turn for each creature blocking it.
That kind of sounds like banding.
No. This is not banding. This is Rampage, my friend.
Oh.
So I had a lure deck. It was a Golgari lure deck with
Rest in peace.
Yeah, rest in peace that deck. It was really fun, but it was such a glass cannon that it just needed to be taken apart. But it was the Sisters of Stone Death. But this one, I'm going to revive the lure deck and make it better. So in this deck, we're gonna play a lot of menace giving enchantments like uh, goblin war drums, and we're gonna play lure, which is all creature is enchant creature that makes you have to all your creatures have to block the enchanted creature. So a lot of effects like that. There's a lot of spells that do it. There's a lot of creatures that do that. Grand melee, all creatures attack each turn if able, and all creatures block each turn if able. So I am going to be putting out some beefy boys that are going to get even beefier because I'm going to make all of your stuff block my guy, and I'm also going to put in like provoke type of effects where it says you untap a creature and then it has to block. There's a goblin I know that does it. And then also on top of that, I'm going to find ways to give you creatures like Forbidden Orchard, um like uh the haunted cycle that or the hunted cycle or whatever. Like there's the green one, hunted troll that like gives
Oh, okay, yeah.
an opponent 4 fairies. Or I can't remember what the red one is, but there's a bunch of cards like that that will just give creatures to other players. So that way I'm making it so that way you have to block more. And then when I give you a bunch of creatures and my guy gets pumped up super huge, the finishing blow is going to be a fling or a thud or something along those lines. So I'm going to be sacking my own creature to deal damage equal to its power. So I'm going to make a big beefy boy and then throw them at you after I kill all your stuff because they're going to have death touch as well and first strike and a bunch of fun mechanics like that. I think that's going to be a very Blake deck, and I think that's the one that I wanted to go with. The other one I was looking at, because we're here and I don't have much else to say about it because I haven't looked into it quite as much, but the Lady of Otaria, I was going to make a secret commander in Lord Windgrace and make it a dwarf tribal Lord Windgrace deck, because then it's also on theme because he's Dominarian.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm looking through the deck list here for your general, and there's a lot of old cool cards with Rampage, like Wolverine pack. It just says Rampage 2 and it's a 2 for 4. But that
mhm.
art though. But then there's also like Gorilla Berserkers for 3 green green. You get a 2/3 summon gorillas. Has trample, which is I think trample is important on these cards, but
Oh, yeah,
also
definitely.
Rampage 2 and cannot be blocked by fewer than 3 creatures. So this dude just becomes like a 5/6.
Yeah, my big daddy is Craw Giant. That's one of my favorite cards.
It's not
Honestly,
Stone Tongue Basilisk for
no.
4 green, green, green. You get a 5 or you get a 4/5 Basilisk. It says whenever Stone Tongue Basilisk deals damage to a creature, destroy that creature at the end of combat. Threshold. All creatures able to block Stone Tongue Basilisk do so. Becomes a 7/8 that just kills everything.
No, you know what the best creature is in the deck besides Craw Giant, which is
Elvish Mystic?
Engulfing Slagworm.
Oh god. Oh
Engulfing
no.
Slagworm says any creature that blocks Engulfing Slagworm gets destroyed right on the spot, and I gain life equal to its power.
It just becomes a 10/10.
It becomes huge. It gains me a bunch of life. It destroys everything, and if it has trample, it just gets right through and doesn't have to worry about any amount of blockers.
Oh, then you give it like this seems like I could see you just upload like loading a bunch of equipment or like auras or enchantment on something like this. This worm's indestructible, has lifelink, death touch, and first strike. And it has to be blocked by everything. Good luck, lads.
Yeah, it's gonna be a beatdown. It's gonna go Gruul, go attack.
This is a battle cruiser Blake deck, but give it the seal of approval. Throw that battleship at it. Hit it with the boat.
You know, that deck actually sounds like a nice mixture between the old lure deck and the Braum deck that you made, the fling deck.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for because they both did the thing, but they didn't do it quite enough. And I think this will be easier because with the Sisters of Stone Death, it like everything depending on her getting blocked, and then with the Fling deck, it all depended on Braun staying out there, and that was a tough ask. But this one, if I can just overload the board, like even things like no, not Wild Nikado, War Pride Nikado, where it says like I'll create when it attacks, you create X tokens that are copies of the War Pride Nikado that can only be blocked by exactly one creature. And I think they're 3/3s to start with, or 4/4s to start with. So then I'm just gonna make a shit ton of 7/7s. And if I have a way to give them all trample and like give you a bunch of stupid little 1/1 spirits and stuff like that, I think it would be pretty sweet.
All right. I say we move on to the last member of this cast and see what great deck he picked, because this is Zach, and he only has 2 decks, so he's very picky about what he makes, but when he does, oh boy, is it good. Zach, what you got for us?
You're right, Brody. It is going to be real good. I decided to choose nothing.
Which
All right,
commander is
good.
that? I haven't heard of that one yet.
Yep, it's new and upcoming. You won't see it in theaters, trust me. No,
All right,
but
thanks for doing the exercise there, Zach.
you got it. You got it.
All right,
But
but yes,
this
that
is-
does.
On the
Oh, wait,
17th, everybody who wants to come, we're going up to Elemental Games in Alexandria, Minnesota to
Yep.
play a modern tournament.
Even
I have-
I'll be there.
I have one question for Zach then, since he didn't build a deck. Out of the 4 other decks that you heard be like talked about, which of them do you like the most? Which of them would you want to play? And which one do you not want to play against?
Um,
He's like, shit, I wasn't listening.
So Jackson's deck, I wouldn't want to play against, but
Fair.
also the deck I'd want to play. Because it
Who's?
just sounds so torturous.
Which one?
Jackson's deck idea, where you know he's milling you out, you're losing life, and when you're losing life, you're losing an additional sources of life. It just
The
sounded
fact that
rough.
she only costs 4 mana to she's only 4 mana 4 mana Praetor is fucking gross.
It is
Yeah.
gross.
So it seems like it went out of control pretty quick. So it sounded kind of fun. It sounded more direct, more Jackson style. I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see how Dylan's deck turns out. To be honest, that sounds pretty fun.
All right, so
Yeah.
he wants the control draws.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
nothing
don't
changes.
you don't want it. You don't really want it. You like want it, but you don't.
I'll say this: I'm not
gonna
surprised that Zach didn't pick either of the beatdowns.
Yeah.
I do
Beatdowns
like
can be countered, dies to removal, and all that jazz. They can be
Yep.
dealt. Plenty of board wipes to go around.
every day, every day, every day.
All right, lads. Well, as Zach was saying, though, we are going up to a modern tournament. I'm sure we'll have a nice podcast about that coming up to see how we did.
Yeah, maybe I want to vlog it. Don't you worry. Oh, there'll be content of this hour and a half long road trip of 4 of us shoved into a van. Don't you worry.
5.
5 of us shoved into a van.
We'll have
Oh,
to
wait,
have
who's-
Evan as a guest.
Oh, Devin is going.
I
Devin
think
will
so.
be going. Yes.
The secret member of the crew. Devin, play the Smash theme.
And I'm trying to convince Will to see if he wants to come up as well.
That'd be
Will ain't
fun.
gonna
I can
come.
ride on the roof.
Will might. But all right, well, here I want to since we're talking about that, we got a few minutes before we got to wrap this here up. So, what decks is everyone bringing to the modern tournament? Like, I know what they are, but for the audience, let's talk
Yeah.
about what we're playing.
All 3 of them.
What?
That's right. He's playing a combination of Murktide, Cascade, Living End. and
I said
burn.
when you said for the audience, and I said all three of them.
Oh, all three of the audience.
Oh.
I gotcha.
Oh, hey now.
Man,
Hey,
we're
we
dunking
get
on
an
ourselves
average
today.
of like 10 plus. All
Three
right.
members,
Stop
huh?
lying to yourself, Brody.
I
Stop
can
lying.
dream.
The best podcasts are the ones that are self-aware.
It's true.
Well, I'll tell you what. If there's only 3 members watching us, there's 3 of you guys that aren't pulling your weight.
All right, let's start with you, Blake. What are you bringing?
All right, I'm bringing blue-white hammer time. I think I've talked about this deck a little bit before, but my little secret tech to the hammer time that I added was Famish Paladin and Basilisk Caller and Viridian Longbow to just infinitely damage people out. But it's pretty straightforward hammer time deck. Thinking about adding red to it, but we're not there yet. But that's what I'm bringing, and we'll hopefully be top 8ing this meta here.
Nice. Dylan, what be you bring?
Yo, I be bringing Spell Sling and Burn. Nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy, but definitely just I don't know. It's my deck. I'm almost done foiling it. I'm gonna be so happy when it's done.
Nice.
My
Very
wallet
exciting.
thank me.
We all talked at the same time. Zach, what'd you say?
I said, were you talking about making changes or something like that recently, Dylan?
I was, and then I decided that I didn't want to. I decided that the changes I made kind of sucked, and I went back and reverted because burn is kind of a one-way street. There's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot you have to do to it, and it's kind of a one-size-fits-all, really.
Fair
True.
enough.
There.
All right, Zach, my lad, you must be bringing something spicy. You're board wipe Johnson. Are you just bringing mono white death and taxes, no fun allowed deck?
No, that
Nobody plays
would be something Will would bring for sure.
It's true.
No, I'm probably going to revamp Elves here currently with what's going
Oh.
on in the set that you guys just spoke of. So I might be putting a little bit of work into that actually prior to the event.
I like it.
Very nice.
I like it. Are you gonna run the gorilla?
There
yeah.
was a thought in the back of my head, yeah.
Oh no, I saw that. I'm like, this could be something like Mono Green Stompy Modern or a lot of formats where it's just like, here's this large lad. He's gonna kick your teeth in now. As for me, I'm bringing Naya enchantments, and this isn't like the meta Naya enchantments. It's +1/+1 counters Naya with Blood Moon. So I'm taking the Naya enchantment deck that is in standard, which I greatly love playing, and adding Sithis on Thin Ice, that new Leyline binding, because that just seems like a better on Thin Ice.
Are you putting? I know what you were talking about. Did you put hardened scales in there?
Yes, Hardened Scales is already on the deck.
Okay, good.
Yep,
Very good.
it's Coco, Hardened Scales, the Deers, the Deer Spirits, which just get +1/+1 counters for each enchantment, and then they can come back from the graveyards if there are enchantments in the graveyards. It's kind of like a Hate Bearers beatdown deck is the best way to describe it. I just gain incidental +1/+1 counters for staxing out my opponent.
All right, Jackson,
Yeah.
what are you bringing?
Well, we'll see if I can come. However, if I can come, the deck that I'll bring is blue black.
Oh, that's all the time we have for today.
Damn, that's unfortunate. That's rough.
Like, come on.
Okay, you should probably work on buying your ticket first before they're sold out, my friend.
Yeah. But anyways, I think Blake makes a good point, lads. Let's
So we're gonna end the podcast right there with everybody talking.
All right, everyone keep talking, and we're gonna just keep going. And
all right, remember
all right,
all of us on our social media web links on Twitch. I'm streaming on there. I'm gonna be uploading some more videos here, doing a box opening today for Secret Layers, so those should be coming out here in the coming week. We thank you for all of your time, patience.
Yep, they got it. They got it. They
All
got
right,
it. We're good.
so,
Goodbye.
I must go on. I'm eternal.
Stop
Can't
talking,
stop.
Brody.
I will
Stop
never
the
die.
recording.